You want to be the chill girl. For the record, I don't think that having a reaction to this makes you not chill. He basically told me he was losing attraction due to the weight gain. Oh, this makes me really angry. Is she prettier than me? Funnier than me? More interesting? Now I wish I had a more mature reaction. Am I being a birthday brat? Am I expecting too much from such a short relationship? No, it's supposed to be fun turning 21. Right now, I do think you need to change your expectations, and I think that you need to raise them. How many times has it crossed our brains, am I too much? Am I being too much right now? Am I too anxious? Am I too needy? Am I too ugly? Am I being too much? Am I not being enough of this thing that I have said or think is perfect that other people will want? If I were only this thing, then other people will want and love me more. That's the question that we're exploring today in this podcast. Am I too much? We've got 3 different letters from people who are asking a version of that question. And the thing with am I being too much is that sometimes we are, right? And it's hard. I don't want to say that you're never too much. You are good exactly as you are, even though I do kind of feel that way, because sometimes, like I know sometimes I am being too much. Sometimes I'm putting too much judgment into something. Sometimes I'm letting my emotions control my decision too much. I'm reading into something too much in a way that doesn't serve me. Let alone, let's forget about other people for a second. Like the thing I'm doing, I'm allowing a part of myself to take too much control here, and it's hurting me. It's stopping me from getting the outcome that is best for me and for others. So sometimes that's true. But other times, man, other people can make us feel like we are not enough. Or what's the difference here? What is the difference? Maybe it's that it's when they make you feel like you as you are too much rather than a thing you're doing. It's like you as you are as the person versus like a behavior of yours or like a thing. Maybe that's one of the differences. But we all know that when someone makes you feel like you're too much because of who you are is one of the worst feelings. And in our friendships and in our relationships, so long as we are also making sure that we're being self-aware and like reflecting and making and trying to like not let, because we all got shit that we're working on. We all have shit that we're working on. We all have triggers. We all have moments. As long as we're aware of those things within ourselves, you are not too much. You are not too much. The letters today are all asking that. We've got someone who wants to be a chill girlfriend, and there's something that's happening that does not make her feel so chill. We have another person who thinks they need to lose weight in order to be loved by their partner, desired by their partner. We have someone who's wondering, is she too much of a birthday brat? Is she asking for too much on her birthday? And I'm excited to talk about these letters. I've got some strong feelings here about these. I'm going to temper them with empathy and temper them with empathy and the love I have for you all. And the thing is that it's always an interesting balance, like balancing my kind of gut reaction and my opinion with delivering information in a way that I think the person will hear. Because my goal here is always never to tell you what to do, always to share another perspective or help you tap into the love that you deserve. And there's a lot of that happening today. Tapping into the love that we deserve. Someone actually, before we start with the letters, somebody sent me a great comment on an Instagram DM last week when I was doing an Instagram AMA, Hello Hayes. Follow me on Instagram. I do those every once in a while. They're much more casual than these letters, but they're fun. And she said that she's wanting to send me a letter, but she's scared about what I'm going to say. She's scared that she'll feel like she has to take my advice, and she's scared about if she disagrees with me and what reaction she'll have about that. Like she wants to remember that it's okay to disagree with me. And I loved that she said that. I understand being scared to write in. I promise that to the best of my ability, I will always try to hold your letters like in my heart. I'll try to be gentle with you. And I hope that in listening to the show and in watching my videos, like that will give you confidence that I will respond to you in that way. And, I will continue to honor you all in the way I respond to the letters. But B, you never have to do what I say. And I try to If I do have a strong opinion that I could back up or I think you should do something, I will say that. But I try to not structure these and answer these in a way where it's like, you must do this. Like, I don't know. I don't always know what's best. I'm not claiming to know what's best. I'm just here having a conversation with you, talking things through. You never need to take my advice as gold. You probably shouldn't. You should listen to what I'm saying, reflect on what it brings up for you, and then do that process over and over again, and maybe talk about what I say with someone else. And take pieces of it, right? Some of what I say will apply to you, some of it won't. I don't expect you to take what I say as, with 100% certainty. So let's just, in case that wasn't clear, let me just say that. And then 3, she was scared about disagreeing. It's okay for us to disagree. Think about, this has been a thing for me to kind of overcome too with making this column, is my fear of being disagreed with on the internet. And I still have this fear, man. This will take me a long time to completely get over. But, I was talking about it many months ago with my literary agent, Abby, over breakfast. And she's like, just think about when you're with your friends or sisters or beloved people, you could be talking about something and you have a different perspective on it. And you can say that you disagree and it's not like friendship ending. Disagreeing isn't a big deal. We can disagree respectfully, right? I can disagree with something you're saying and still be interested in that you said it. And I want to trust that you can disagree with me and that we can still maintain our relationship, right? And I want you to trust that you can disagree with me and still be able to come back and listen and not feel like if you disagree with something, then our relationship is broken. I don't want you to feel that way. I don't want to feel that way. So I'm just saying that now. Saying it now. And with that, let's begin reading the letters. Hello, Hayes. I have a tricky situation where I'm caught between behaving in a value-based way and an instinctual way that feels authentic to me. I've been dating my boyfriend for a little over 2 years now. We live and share a dog together. He's someone who stays friends with all of his exes, which is a theoretical green flag for me, but as someone who's very anxious and insecure, can also elicit negative feelings that I just can't control. His most recent ex is a woman he lived with for a year and who he tried to date on and off for upwards of 8 years. They finally called off their relationship due to intimacy issues and feeling like they fit better as friends. They remain best friends to this day, best friends in quotes, and video call often, sometimes for hours, which is something I have needed to work on to feel comfortable with. My boyfriend is aware that this is an unusual dynamic to have with his exes. Like I said, he's still friends with all of them, and this has caused problems in the past with other women he's dated. He's had to do his own self-work to accept who he is, and that this, quote, abnormal dynamic is not inherently flawed. He's an incredibly loyal friend. Once you're a part of his life in any capacity, he wants to keep you a part of his life forever. My boyfriend is very honest, and I have no worries that his best friendship with his most recent ex is anything more than friendship. I don't know how to sufficiently convey how much respect and confidence I have in his character, so you'll just have to take my word for it. His character is not the problem I'm turning to you for. My self-confidence and anxiety is. Long story short, a situation is coming up where I'll potentially need to spend an extended amount of time with this best friend. It would be my first time meeting her in person. We've met over video call, and his first time seeing her since the breakup. I'm so conflicted because on one hand, I want to act on that trust I have in my boyfriend and confidently show up to meet his ex with a smile on my face. But on the other hand, I worry that I'll be filled with insecurities. Do they still have feelings for each other? Is she prettier than me? Funnier than me? More interesting? And if I decide to sit out of this hangout, it would leave my boyfriend alone with her for the first time since their breakup, which makes me more uncomfortable than I'm proud to admit. What do you think I should do? Do I hang out with them and behave in alignment with my values? Or do I sit out the interaction and let my mind go wild with worst-case scenarios of them falling back in love in my absence? Yours, the not-so-chill girlfriend. For the record, I don't think that having a reaction to this makes you not chill. The name here, the not so chill girlfriend, it's so I can so relate to wanting to be, you want to be the chill, relaxed girlfriend, especially in the face of your boyfriend, who I'm going to take your word for it. We trust his character, loyal dude. We love him. You want to be the person who's okay with this and who genuinely isn't rattled by it. You want to be the chill girl. And it's easy to be the chill girl when there's nothing really for you to be chill about, or for you to be unchill about, I mean. And this tests that. But I want you to know that you don't sound unchill to me. The situation sounds complicated. First thing I noticed is that you said him being friends with all of his exes is a green flag, but for you, as somebody who's anxious and insecure, can bring up some negative feelings. I'm curious, like, what do you mean by you are anxious and insecure? Do you think that you're anxious and insecure because you have a reaction to his behavior in a situation with this friend, or is anxiety and insecurity like a chronic thing that you deal with? The situation that you are describing would bring up anxiety and insecurity for people who don't struggle with anxiety and insecurity generally. And I want to make sure that you're not, and I don't think you are actually, because you're asking some really good questions in your letter about what to do, and you don't seem to be blaming yourself here. But I do want to make sure that you're not pushing away things that are actually somebody else's responsibility under the veil of, well, I'm anxious and insecure, and I want to be chill, and I'm anxious and insecure, so that's why I'm not doing anything about this. I want to make sure that you're not doing that, right? You're not blaming this on you, when, not that blame needs to be put anywhere, but where this is a challenge for two people to solve. So let's talk about your boyfriend for a moment in this relationship. I appreciate how you said that I need to just take your word for it. And I do take your word for it. And I'm going to stretch myself here. I take your word that your boyfriend is being honest about the fact that he is not cheating on you with his best friend, which I think is like the other option that you're insinuating. But there's details in here that spark my hazy senses in a way. Not that he is bad or that you are not good together, but that this isn't just oh, you need to get over it. You need to like get with the 21st century and people can be friends with their exes. Thing number one, they lived together for a year, and who he tried to date on and off for upwards of 8 years. What do you mean he tried to date her? Right away, the way you're portraying this is like he was pining after this person, and because of their intimacy issues, they decided it didn't work. That's a specific type of breakup. That's a very specific type of breakup. Could you become friends after that? I understand that some people can. But the reason for the breakup, I think already is like there's like a little bit of a power imbalance. So that's one thing that sort of sparked me right away. It wasn't like they dated in high school 10 years ago and, it just didn't work. He was trying to be with her for upwards of 8 years. That's a long ass time. You said they remain best friends, video call often, sometimes for hours, which you've needed to work on feeling comfortable with. I have one reaction where I'm like, they FaceTime for hours often. That's a lot of time. But I think I'm having that reaction because of all of the other information, right? Normal to FaceTime with a friend for hours. The other details, though, make me feel, should that be something that you've needed to become comfortable with? But I respect that you have. But what also is shaping my reaction to this is something you said about your boyfriend. I guess to pull back, you're writing to me. I have so much respect for the way that you're writing to me about this. You are taking on the responsibility of like wanting to be the best version of yourself for yourself and your partner. And you deserve to be with someone who is also doing that. There's no right or wrong. You should be friends with exes, you shouldn't. But in a relationship and in friendships, like you don't live together. Your relationship does not exist in a vacuum. Your relationship exists in the context of everything around it. And if you are in a romantic relationship with someone, a domestic partnership, you need to be adjusting things in the rest of your life so that it makes sense for that relationship. And you do that in friendships too, right? We don't all just walk around doing only what we want all of the time. And I want to make sure that your boyfriend is thinking as thoughtfully as you are. So you said he's aware that this is an unusual dynamic to have with his exes, and that he's had to do his own self-work to accept who he is, and that this abnormal dynamic is not inherently flawed. Agree that it's not inherently flawed, but what does that mean? He's done his own self-work to accept who he is. I don't think it's not like a core identity you have to accept about yourself, that you're friends with all of your exes, no questions asked. there's a world in which that's him deflecting all responsibility of what it means to be friends with exes and be in romantic relationships. Like, good for him to accept that okay. I do think it's great to look for ways to like reject, heteronormative standards. A heteronormative standard being you're never friends with exes. Good for him. And I would hope that he's flexible with that based on the other people in his life. He's an incredibly loyal friend. Once you're a part of his life in any capacity, he wants to keep you a part of his life forever. That's intense. And it could be intensely beautiful, right? It could be intensely beautiful. And I could see how if that's who he is and he's going to be that way, no questions asked, I can see how the right person for him might share that attitude, because that's an intense thing to put your stick in the ground and say, this is going to be true for me no matter what. All right, maybe let's talk about the actual situation. So that's the context. That was my reaction to that. And I want to be very clear. Again, I don't think he's doing anything. I don't think the friendship is the thing that is their friendship is not what's bringing up questions for me. It's how we are approaching the friendship given your relationship and given how you feel about it, which I should ask you actually, does he know how you feel about this? How you feel being conflicted? Does he know that you think it's a green flag that he's friends with exes and it's been bringing up certain feelings that you're uncomfortable with? And considering we live together, we want to be together, we share a dog together, I think it's important that the two of us figure out some boundaries that make sense for us, boundaries for our relationship. Where are each of us willing to stretch, right? Relationships are about both of you being willing to stretch. And in your letter, granted, this is only from your perspective, but you're not telling me about the ways in which he's stretching. I see how he's stretched for himself, but how is he stretching for you? And maybe he shouldn't have to stretch for you, right? If this is really important to him, maybe he shouldn't have to. But that's a conversation you both kind of come to together. And I wonder if you two have talked about this yet. So let's talk about the situation. Man, it's tricky. It's tricky. I think I want to validate you for the, is she going to be prettier than me, funnier than me? So real. And I think, because I don't know what the answer to those things is, right? I could tell you, you're the most beautiful, you're the funniest, you're the most interesting. And the true thing is that you are you. And your beauty and your humor and your intelligence is unmatched because it's yours. And no one could compete with your unique thing because there's only one you. I don't know what this person looks like or what their resume is. And you might see them and be like, wow, she has an incredibly symmetrical face and I have a lazy eye on my left side, right? There could be that reaction. Maybe you've never gotten Botox and her face is like, perfectly plastered, no lines. I don't know what it will be. So I can't say don't worry about that, because you will worry about that and we all worry about that. Like, I think so many of us are doing this subconscious comparison. And it happens even more, of course, when there's some like emotional tangle involved, such as this. I think, do they still have feelings for each other? Have you asked your boyfriend this? That's such a raw question to have and to be holding on your own. And I think it's fair to ask him that, even if you think his answer, and if you think his answer is going to be, what the fuck, not so chill girlfriend? How dare you even ask me that? Like, that's not the response we're looking for. The response we're looking for, and maybe if you've never had these types of conversations, you'll have to kind of work to get there together, is like, no. And we need together to figure out what's going on so that you don't feel insecure about that. And I don't think it's just you being insecure. There's a difference between being insecure and being insecure about something. Big difference. And to me here, I don't know you well enough to know if you are generally an insecure person. You said it in the beginning of this letter, but again, don't know if you're just saying that because you've been trying to make sense of this feeling you're having, which is inconvenient, right? This is an inconvenient challenge to be facing 2 years into a relationship, living together, sharing a dog. I think I'm trying to think of ways where you could be being insecure here. I think that maybe if you and your boyfriend had really talked about this a lot, the two of you made some compromises together, you got to know her. Like, I think maybe being involved in his friendship and developing your own friendship with her could help with some of that. So if a long time had passed, if years and years had passed, and this was important to him, and he really had done everything he could to bring you along, made some adjustments to his like adamant behavior about his exes so that it makes sense for the relationship he's in. And if you still were feeling like kept up at night about it, maybe the insecurity about it would be like more of a you thing that you need to figure out whether you want to deal with. But without knowing what I guess I feel really protective over you calling yourself insecure over this. There's a difference between you being insecure and it being a you problem and being insecure about something because it's not being handled well. That's what I think it is. So what should you do? To go back on the thing I said about becoming friends with her, like you have the situation where you can meet her. Should I tell you what I would do? I think you should talk about both options with your boyfriend. I think it's a decision that the two of you make together. I think you could say to him exactly what you've said to me. 2 years into a relationship, I want you to be able to have this conversation with your partner. I'm feeling nervous about joining you for this. On one hand, I want to come because I trust you and I know you two are good friends. And, I want to respect that and be a part of it. But I'm nervous that when I'm there, I'm going to feel X, Y, and Z. I also know that I could just let you go because I do trust you, but I have fears about X. And talk about it together and talk about it together. I think your fear about them falling in love without you. I think that they would fall in love with you or without you there, Like if they were going to fall in love again, if they're FaceTiming for multiple hours very often, talking all the time, like that probably would have already happened. Or it will happen if you're there or not, which isn't super comforting to hear, but like I don't think you going or not going, I don't think you hold that much power over them falling back in love, if that makes sense. Like, if the two of you were together and he wants to be with you and you want to be with him, that should be enough. Him being alone with her for a little bit shouldn't magically make him fall back in love with her. And if it did, this is not, if his bond to you and love for you is that fragile that it could be broken by hanging out with this person for a little bit without you, you're dodging a bullet, right? You'd rather know that. It's really about what you're going to be most comfortable with. For me, I would be thinking about which of these options, after talking about it with my partner, like which of these options feels most closely aligned with, It's funny because I force myself to do things I don't want to do sometimes because I think it's the right thing to do. And I've been given the smart feedback from my therapist that sometimes I should remove myself. Like sometimes I will, if I know that I'm overstimulated and I've been around people for too much, like been with family for too much, I'll like force myself to stay there because I'm like, you should be able to do this. The right thing to do is to like be with everybody for this many hours. But actually the better thing to do is to remove myself. So I'm thinking about that as I think about what advice I give to you here. Because part of me is like, you should go. I think you should go. And I kind of do think I think I would go because it could be like a good exposure in going and in seeing that you and your boyfriend together can both kind of dismantle. Because you said earlier, he's worked, this dynamic is not inherently abnormal, or it's not inherently flawed. It's abnormal in quotes because normal is decided by who. But it's not inherently flawed. There could be some really great power and teamwork in doing this together and in seeing that you could do it together and both coming together to make the other person feel comfortable. But this is not something for you to be doing by yourself. This isn't a problem for you to solve alone. This is a reality of your relationship right now. And if this relationship is going to work, then the two of you together have to figure out how to make it work. It's not just on you to be okay with the decisions he's made for his life. And if you decide that you actually are not comfortable with it, that doesn't make you insecure. That's what I think I really want to drive home here. You two might just not be compatible, right? If he wants to do this and he is inflexible, or if he's inflexible around this and you don't, and you feel uncomfortable, you two just might not be compatible, right? No one's necessarily a bad person, but maybe this relationship isn't right for you and for him because both of you are looking for something else. You don't need to try to change who you are or to fit into some mold, to fit into this version of the chill girl, right? There's this chill type of girlfriend who you're imagining who would be okay with this and be comfortable with this. And I think being okay with something and being comfortable with it are different things. And sometimes we can practice and we can become more comfortable with things. Sometimes we can't. And if you decide that you're uncomfortable with this friendship, it doesn't make you insecure or anxious. It just means that you have boundaries and that you have things you want to be true in your relationship. I'm not saying that I think that that's what has to happen here, but I'm saying it so that you don't blame yourself for the way you feel. Maybe if you do go, is he going to visit her? What's the situation? Yeah, I want to know what the situation is. Like, are you guys going to visit her? Is that the whole thing? He's going to visit her for a weekend? Or are you going to be in town and therefore you're going to be together? I'm curious what the dynamic is, because there's a world also where the part of the compromise is that you join, but that you have specific times when you're going to be with her. Like maybe the three of you go out for breakfast together, you go for a hike together, you meet for drinks. But if it's like we're all staying in the same house, you might then need to build in some time for you to go do your own thing. Like maybe that might be helpful for you actually. Like if you're gonna all be together, have a schedule. Maybe where you and your boyfriend are doing something just the two of you, or you leave them alone for a little bit and you go, if you love coffee, for example, you could do some research on Yelp about the great coffee shops in the area and go do that yourself. I don't want you to feel like no matter what here, you're gonna be miserable. Because part of you, I think, feels like both situations are going to suck. You're going to hang out with them and be comparing yourself the whole time, or you're going to be home and letting your mind spiral. There can be something in the middle, which is that you're going to have to sit through some discomfort. There's going to be some discomfort here because it's a first. And you're right, this is I don't know what the opposite of heteronormative is, but like you are breaking some barriers here, I guess, in this dynamic. And that might feel uncomfortable, so you're going to have to deal with that. But you don't need to be alone. You don't need to be dealing with it alone. Your boyfriend is your partner here, right? Isn't he? Isn't he your partner here? And if he is, this is his time to show you that and to show up for you. So stop searching to be chill, not so chill girlfriend. You don't need to try to be chill. You just need to try to be you. And if I didn't think you were being thoughtful, then maybe I would tell you to be more thoughtful and be a little more flexible. But you are. I can see that you're thoughtful. The way that you are willing to stretch yourself, I hope that he's willing to stretch himself too. Because I think he's thinking that he's already stretched himself by doing this unpopular or taboo, non-normative thing. But actually, if this is what feels most normal for him, if he wants this relationship to work, then he needs to meet you somewhere too. You both have to stretch, but you want to be stretching towards the other, not away. Letter 2. Hello, Hayes. I've been dating my boyfriend for just over 2 years, and I can 100% see him as my life partner. But since we've got together, I've gained about 30 pounds. I've never been thin, but this is definitely unusual for me. I haven't lost any weight over the last 2 years, which has been tough, both mentally and physically. It's impacted so many aspects of my life. I can't find clothes, I don't like taking pictures, which I know impacts him as well. We recently went to Florida together, and during the trip, I could tell he was looking at my body and new stretch marks, and he made a few comments that made me feel insecure and ugly. After a conversation one night, he basically told me he was losing attraction due to the weight gain I haven't been able to address. I cried, obviously, and now I wish I had a more mature reaction. I'm really trying to lose weight, for me primarily, but how do you suggest I navigate this topic with my partner? How do I set boundaries, but also make it clear to him that I'm working on myself and I'm committed to feeling my best? Yours, not in my best body. Oh, this makes me angry. Oh, this makes me really angry. And I want to not be angry because this makes me angry. This makes me angry because what you deserve is unconditional love. Certainly not love that is conditional on what you look like or what size you are or what size you are. And this makes me angry that you are in a situation where someone is making you feel otherwise. You see this person as your life partner, and I know that it's hard to hear that about somebody that we love and we want to make it work with. So I'm gonna try to proceed with that in mind. Fat phobia is so much more than someone calling someone a mean name. It is so deeply ingrained in our society and in the way we think about attraction and in our medical system. I mean, it's so deeply ingrained that your boyfriend here is a product of that too. And we all have to unlearn and question the things. We all have to unlearn and question the attitudes we have about, I also want to differentiate, like, being fat and gaining weight are different, and they're different experiences. And you don't use the word fat here, so I don't know how you identify in your body. You said I've never been thin, but this is unusual weight gain for me. The way I'm going to tap into empathy instead of just anger right now is by thinking, like, he may not have the tools yet. He may not know what he did. So I'm going to try to proceed with that as I tell you everything I'm about to tell you. First thing I want to say to you is that how do you choose the first thing you want to say when we feel something so passionately? You are desirable and attractive no matter what you look like. Your desirability, your ability for someone to want you and love you is not based on how much you weigh. People of all sizes and abilities are loved and desired by people. Like that's fact. Another fact is that our bodies change, and it is normal for your weight to fluctuate within the range you're talking about over the course of your life. That's normal. And I don't say that to it is also challenging when our bodies change and when we go through a physical change or a change in our ability or in our physical health or our mental health. These challenges, no, sorry, not that I don't want to frame them as challenges. These changes can be challenging to work through. They can be challenging to accept. We get used to one thing and then our body changes on us, and it can feel sometimes like your body's betraying you. But it isn't, and it might not be. And one of the ways we begin to have acceptance with the way that we are changing is through unconditional love, which, yes, we can show ourselves, but we also should be receiving from the people closest to us in our life. Friends, family, partners. Love for you is not conditional based on your size, and your weight should never, here I go. Your weight should never be used as a thing to hold over your head, that you need to feel like you have to change in order to receive the love you deserve. Weight is not a manipulation tool. The way you look is not a tool. Do this more and I'll want you. Do this less. No. The love you deserve is constant, and it has nothing to do with what you look like and how your body and the changes that will come over life. I also think, and I don't know that this is what he's doing. You said he basically said this. You could tell he was looking at me this way. And he basically told me, I don't know exactly what that means. I don't have a direct quote here. I'm trusting you, though, that is what he said. And looking at this letter again, you said, I cried, obviously, and now wish I had a more mature reaction. My love, no, of course you cried. You don't need to wish you had any different reaction. I know that feeling, though. I know that feeling of something embarrassing happens or something that evokes shame, and we cry because fucking obviously. And then later we replay it in our heads over and over again. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I just handled that a little better. I wish I just handled that a little better. I wish I didn't cry. I wish I said this strong thing, or I wish I just know what they meant. I wish I knew what they meant. I know what they meant. I know they didn't mean to hurt me. I know he would never say that. So I wish I just knew. Well, you didn't know because they said something cruel. So crying is a fair reaction. Maybe you want to come to the conversation again when you're not being surprised by it. And maybe you want to come to the conversation again with more resources, which we're going to talk about, so that you can get closer to the outcome you want, which I think the outcome you want is to be in a relationship with this person and for them to love you and for them to be attracted to you and for them to treat you with respect in your new body, in your current, not in your new body, but in your body, in the body that you have right now and in the body that you might have later. Our bodies are going to continue to change. You don't want to be in a, you might feel like it, but you don't want to be in a relationship with someone whose love is conditional on what your weight is. Look, I'm not your doctor. I don't know the reasons why you gained weight. I will say again, though, that the weight gain you're describing and body changes in general are normal. Trying to lose weight because you want someone to love you, you want someone to want you, it's not the reason to lose weight. And it's not a good motivating tool, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It would be inhumane for a person to say that you need to change the way your body is naturally changing in order for me to want you. That's not a situation we want to be in. I don't know if that's exactly what he said or if that is what he said, but it sounds like that's the way he made you feel. So I know you want to handle this, you wish you handled the conversation more maturely, but I think you handled the conversation exactly as any normal human, as any human would. We can come back to it, though, with more tools so that to end that, right? To make sure that never happens again. And to teach him, if you want to, how to support you. And it's hard because it sounds like you're still in the throes right now of trying to accept yourself. And it's really challenging to have to try to show someone else the kind of love you need. And sometimes I would say it's not worth it. I'd say leave this person. But I'm not going to say that right now because I don't know enough and I don't know if you're ready to hear it. What I will say to you, though, is that if he can't get on board, you deserve better. You is it not even deserving? It's like it feels, I don't even want to say the word deserve because it feels like such a true fact. Like no one would deserve this. It's like a thing you've earned simply by coming out of the womb and existing. Do not settle for a person who makes you feel like their love is conditional on you losing weight, on you looking a certain way. I don't want you to settle for that. You're 100%, you can 100% see yourself being with a person who makes you feel that way. Again, this could have just been a one-time flop. Maybe he's going to learn and maybe this won't happen again. I also want to point out, you said that, I could tell he was looking at my body. And something that we do sometimes when we're insecure about something is that we make shit up. There's a world in which maybe he was just looking at you and you interpret the look as a critical look when really it was just a look. That could be true. We do that. But the fact that you also said that he told you he was losing attraction due to the weight gain, I also want to say, that's not real. What's her name? I was watching this incredible video. I'll link it in the description. It's called Fat Phobia is Not a Sexual Preference. Her name is Sonali Rashawar, and she's talking about how attraction and sexuality is not hardwired. It is socially conditioned. So I watched this video earlier, and she talks about how if you find yourself thinking and saying, oh, I couldn't be attracted to this person because they're fat or because they've gained weight, that's something that we have to question. That could be that's a product of the way we've been socially conditioned versus just hardwired. Of course, we all are attracted to people for different types of reasons, but for him to say that he's not attracted to you because you've gained weight, there's some interrogating that he could be doing to figure out if that's true, why that is. For that reason, couples therapy could be let me rewind. For that reason, I think it's really important for him to know that part of this is his responsibility. Him feeling attracted to you is not your responsibility. It's not. If he is no longer feeling attracted to you, maybe the fact that you've gained weight, that's the easiest thing for him to grab in his brain for why that might be the case. But maybe it's because of something else. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with you. Or maybe it is related to you, but it's because of some other change that's happened in your relationship. If he's not in therapy, I think therapy would be a great thing for him. Maybe couples therapy would be a good thing for both of you if this relationship is something that you want to work on together and you want to overcome this hurdle together. You might need some external support to help guide these conversations. I think this scenario is a great use case for couples therapy, but it's not on you. Like, you don't have a responsibility here to lose weight to fix your relationship. You don't need to lose weight to fix your relationship. You don't need to lose weight at all, you know? Like, talk with a doctor, hopefully a trusted doctor, if this is something that's been challenging for you. But there's also the reality that this is the way your body is supposed to be right now. And you said it's been hard trying on clothes. Are you trying on clothes for your body, or are you trying on clothes for your body 2 years ago? I recently went up in my closet and threw out the pants that are kind of small on me. You know, the pants that every time you put them on, you feel a little bad about yourself because they used to fit and now they don't. Goodbye, pants. Why am I torturing myself by trying to put on these jeans that don't fit? I know the clothes that I like, and the clothes I like right now are like a little bit looser. They're a little bit looser. They're a little bit more masculine. They're a little bit more softer clothing. I know what I like right now, and I'm going to stop putting on clothes that don't fit that category. You don't like taking photos? I get it. I get not liking taking photos no matter what. A fun solution for you there might be to practice taking pictures of yourself alone. I have the app Lens Buddy, and you can kind of put your phone up and it sets a timer, and you can practice taking some pictures of yourself and practicing with different angles. I don't like any pictures really that other people take of me, but I like the pictures that I take of myself because I've practiced with that and I've gotten to know my angles. And that's changed as I've gotten older and as my body's changed. And I think it could be really fun and empowering for you to try that a little bit and to try to deal with the fear of the camera by taking some pictures in private just for you. Back to how to navigate it with him. I think, number one, it starts with you figuring out what your ideals, like what do you want from him? And if you don't know what you want from him, I think what you want from him is you want love and support, and you probably want him to not talk about your body. You probably want him to make you feel beautiful in your changed body. You want him to want you in your changed body. You don't want him to tell you that you need to lose weight. So what's the positive way of framing that? And I say we got to figure out what you want first, because it's hard to tell someone how to support us when we actually don't even know what we want from them, and when we don't know what we want for ourselves. So maybe first the shift is for you. The shift for you is, I don't need to lose weight to feel loved. I want to know that I'm loved in the body that I am in right now. The love people have for me doesn't have to do with what I look like. It doesn't. I am attractive and desirable no matter which size I am, no matter what the scale says. Fuck the scale. Throw out the scale, by the way. Get rid of that. You don't need that. You don't need that. So maybe I want to talk about a conversation that we had in Florida that didn't feel good for me. I'm not sure that we're on the same page around this topic, and I want to get us on the same page. I'm hoping we can come to this conversation as a team. My body's changed over the last couple of years, and it's been hard for me to work through that. I'm going to work through it. And what that means is that I'm going to practice being more comfortable and confident with who I am right now. As my partner, I'm looking for you to support me in that journey, in the journey to loving myself and to knowing that I'm beautiful and attractive. It's not helpful for you to encourage me to lose weight in order to be more attractive. In fact, I don't know if I want to talk about losing weight together at all. It hurt when you said that you weren't attracted to me anymore because of the weight I've gained. If we want to be in this relationship, I think we need to find a new way to deal with that problem, because the solution is not me losing weight. And I'd see how he responds to that. I mean, I think the response we're looking for is, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention, and I would never make you want to feel that way. How can I be helpful? And I think that decentering weight loss is what's going to be most helpful here. So sharing that with him, that decentering weight loss, help me feel, compliment me, empower me to feel good in my body. That's the kind of relationship I want to be in, right? What's the relationship that you want to be in, my love? Think about the way that you want to be loved. And if he can't do that, right? And if he's like, I don't know what to say, I'm just not attracted to you, then you have your answer. That's heartbreaking and hard, but you're dodging it. I mean, it's better to know. Better to know. And you could also, again, suggest going to couples therapy. If he's open to it and he's open to exploring this, this would be a good solution for a couples therapist. If you go on Psychology Today, you can search through your insurance and see who's available in your area. That's a great resource to find someone, but maybe bring that up with him. The most important thing I want you to take away from this is that you have nothing to change here. My homework for you is just to say that to yourself on repeat. I don't need to lose weight in order to be loved. I don't need to lose weight in order to be loved. I don't need to lose weight in order to be loved. Because it won't, it won't. It won't work. It won't work. It won't work for any of the things that you want. I love you, and I love you as you are, and keep me posted on how this goes. Okay, letter 3. Hello, Hayes. 3 months ago, I met a wonderful man on a dating site. He checked all of the boxes I decided needed to be checked when entering the dating world. We connected quickly and soon made things official. Unfortunately, a massive wrench was thrown into this when his job said he had to do 6 weeks on, 2 week off shifts indefinitely. He asked if I was okay to date someone who worked the schedule and said the relationship did not have to continue, or as some would say, an out. I said that I was willing to try, so long as open communication was a priority. His being away hasn't been that hard. I enjoy being with him, and I also enjoy my alone time. Problems have arisen for different reasons, though, like how it's my 21st birthday tomorrow and he'll be out of town on his shift, even though he had the option to opt out of it. I get it. Money's tight and I'm a new girlfriend. But I told him on our first date that my birthday was my favorite day of the year. He has a different view on his own birthday and ignores its existence. I feel like his apathy towards his own birthday is being used on mine as well. He asked me about a week ago what I wanted, and I made a couple suggestions, as I know gift shopping is difficult for some people. Things like inexpensive jewelry, flowers, a pair of shorts I was looking at. He hated all these ideas, claiming that he doesn't get flowers, even though he knows I love them, and he said that jewelry is just not something he would buy. Then when I mentioned my birthday yesterday, he said he hasn't gotten me a gift yet, and kind of laughed about it. He's told me that he isn't very romantic, and gifts like that just aren't his thing, but the gift is for me, not him. When he gets back, he's coming to dinner with my family at a steakhouse. I feel like he doesn't care about my birthday because he's made no plans outside of the dinner my parents planned. I don't want to plan my own birthday date. I know some people would just suggest breaking up with him, but I've never had a serious relationship, and I worry it's because I give up too easily and struggle to work things out. Plus, I really like him, and I could see a future with him. Am I being a birthday brat? Am I expecting too much from such a short relationship? Do you think that his lack of romance will hinder our relationship forever? Yours, 21 and confused. You are not being a birthday brat. No, you're not being a birthday brat. And I know some birthday brats, and it doesn't sound like you're being a birthday brat. It sounds like you're, hoping for kind of the bare minimum. Not even the bare minimum, because celebrating a birthday in small ways is nice. But it sounds like what you're asking for is not too much, 21 and confused. I think, all right, let's start from the beginning. First of all, I love your maturity and how you're like, I like spending time together. I like spending time alone. This 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off dynamic could actually work for us. Love your flexibility there. And I think it shows a lot of maturity. I think that the apathy towards his own birthday is a really interesting thing. I wouldn't say that I have apathy towards my birthday, but I have a hard time with my birthday. And I've had a harder time with my birthday as I've gotten older. Though in my own experience, the complicated feelings I have about my birthday have no effect whatsoever on how I want to celebrate my loved ones' birthdays. Like, I love celebrating Brian's birthdays, and that has nothing to do with whether he likes birthdays or not, but I love celebrating the day he was brought into the world. Like, it's a celebration. It's a night for fun. It's a night to show the person you love how you love them. My feelings about my birthday don't trickle over to his birthday. Now, that's not a universal experience, of course. That apathy for one's own birthday could certainly, have a bigger impact for some people on how they view others' birthdays, but it doesn't for me, is what I'm trying to say. So your instinct is right. The apathy he feels for his own could maybe be making him, stopping him from being able to be what's the word I'm looking for? To understand why you might like your birthday. It could sort of just be a brain gap where he's like, I don't like my birthday, so why would I do anything for hers? Though to challenge that excuse, you've explicitly told him, which I think is great. It'd be one thing if you were saying to me, I just wish he would do it without me asking. That might be asking for too much from a person who doesn't like their birthday and who doesn't do anything on their birthday. But that's not what you've done. You've been explicit. You've told him what you want. You've given him suggestions, and he has responded to you by saying that he just doesn't do that. He doesn't get flowers. It's not that hard to get flowers. I'm not talking purchasing them. Like, what do you mean he doesn't understand? He doesn't understand the concept of why people like flowers. You don't need to understand something. You don't need to understand why someone likes something to respect that the person you like likes it. You said, I know some people would just suggest breaking up with him, and I fear that I'm one of those people. I think you said, I've never had a serious relationship, and I worry it's because I give up too easily. There are certain things we need to be flexible for. If you're saying that something's important to you, and you're showing someone how to love you in the way that you want to be loved, and they are pushing it to the side, ignoring it, that's not a great way to start the relationship. You can do better. You certainly can do better. This, to me, giving up on this relationship does not mean you're giving up too easily and struggle to work things out. You see a future with him? What future do you see? Your birthday happens every year. And if someone is apathetic towards your birthday, which you've expressed that you love, how do you think they're going to be? I can't imagine that they're going to be different on other days that matter to you. How someone shows up for you when you explicitly tell them how you want to be shown up for, he's telling you a lot right now about who he is and how he's going to, the way that he loves. Does the way he loves feel good for you? It's supposed to be fun turning 21. I think that before breaking up, you could say, hey, it's made me feel like we're not on the same page, that I've told you I like to celebrate my birthday. I want to celebrate my birthday with you. I gave you some ideas for how I wanted to celebrate my birthday, and you didn't do any of them. I think if that's what, like, if he comes to this birthday dinner with your parents and he does nothing to honor your birthday, I think you have that type of conversation. And then ultimately it could be, then I don't think that the two of us are compatible. You know, I'm looking for someone who wants to celebrate my birthday with me. That's not asking for too much. My God, we must raise the bar. You know, I'm the first one who's going to tell you when you're being inflexible or if you need to change your expectations. Right now, I do think you need to change your expectations, and I think that you need to raise them. Do I think his lack of romance will hinder your relationship forever? Maybe. And I don't think you're at a point in your life when you need to like risk that. You're going to find someone who checks those boxes that you mentioned in the beginning on your dating checklist and will show you romance in the way that you want. You're 21, and 21's not young. So I'm not saying that to make you feel young, but you've got time. This is an important moment in your adult life when you are, you're setting the tone for how you want to be treated. And let me tell you, you deserve flowers on your birthday, especially when you like flowers and when you've said you want them. Or just a fucking birthday card. Like, I think that you would be touched by a handwritten birthday card. You know, you're not asking for something expensive or extravagant. You just want a little something. And you've been mature enough to say it. So that's what I have to say here. You're not being a birthday brat. Happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. And it is a canon event to have at least one birthday scorned by a man or by someone, unfortunately, and this might be yours. Mine was when I was 18. That's a story perhaps for another time. I've told it in, should I just tell the story now? Fuck it, I'm gonna tell the story now. So when I was 18, I was sort of still on and off again with my high school boyfriend, who was 2 years older than me. He was a sophomore in college at that point. And he had invited me to his fraternity formal, which was the weekend of my 18th birthday. And I was going, and I was so excited about going. Couldn't wait to go. Was feeling hopeful about our relationship again. We were maybe planning on getting back together that summer, whatever. Earlier that year and the year before, when he first went to college, it had been rocky. It had been rocky, as you'd expect, a high schooler and college student trying to still be in love and talk and stay in touch, but not be together. And he had a group of friends, and there was one girl who he insisted they were just best friends, but of course it was more than that. But, constantly gaslighting me, trying to make me believe that what I believed was true wasn't true. I'd go to visit all the time and could feel the fucking weirdness, right? Could feel that people were looking at me and that they knew something I didn't know. I wanted to be like, I'm not stupid, you guys. I know what's going on. Yet I continued to go visit, continued. Fast forward to the next year, I've been essentially like degrading myself for a year and a half. And he invites me to his formal for my 18th birthday. And then a couple weeks before, I want to say it was like a week before in my memory. Maybe it was a little bit longer than that. Last minute uninvites me from the formal because he's going to bring that girl that I always suspected. Weekend of my 18th birthday. And I was so embarrassed. And I was heartbroken. And I remember one of the biggest fights my mom and I had gotten into earlier was like another one of the weekends where I wanted to go visit him, and she did not want to let me go. She had had enough. She didn't want to let me go, and I remember we were standing outside of our house going on a walk, and I screamed at her that she was ruining my life. You're ruining my life by not letting me go. And I see it with such different clarity now that she was, trying to protect me. And I suppose some lessons we have to learn ourselves. And she did protect me from so much, does protect me. And I was devastated, I was devastated. But instead, my mom took me and a few of my best friends out to a fucking steakhouse. Look at this. We went to Capitol Grill in Chestnut Hill. Love a steakhouse dinner with the girls. And I made all my friends wear black, and I wore this hot pink dress, this A-line dress from Zara. Oh my God, I felt so gorgeous and sexy in that dress. And kind of iconic of me, and dramatic, but mostly iconic, that I had all my friends wear black. We still, when I see them, we still joke about that whole night. And I ended up having a great night with my friends. And that was the story of my 18th birthday. It was heartbreak, but it also was the moment where I was like, I'm going to start doing things differently. And I wish I could say that didn't get involved with him after that again. I fucking did. Soon after, though, it was done. Give it one more year and then it would finally be over and done. But it was the beginning of the end, right? It was the beginning of me knowing my worth. I'd still have some shaky relationships to come afterwards, but it was the beginning. And this is your beginning too. This is your beginning too of you knowing your worth. It doesn't matter that you haven't had serious relationships before. You've been holding out for the right thing. And the right thing is going to include wanting to celebrate your birthday with you. So with that, 21 Confused, I love you. Happy birthday. Happy fucking birthday. Cheers to you. That was a shot for anybody who's not watching on video. And that is all we got for today. Thank you so much for listening and for being here. If you're watching, I would love some ideas on how I could spruce this space up a little bit. I need to get a carpet in here to deal better with the sound. I'm thinking about painting these walls or maybe doing some art. This is one of those things. I left it empty because I figured, like, if it's empty, then you gotta do it, Hayes. Like, you'll be forced to get it done. But unfortunately, the way my brain works is I'm like, yeah, we can just let it go another week. But I really want this space to feel like cozier and colorful and just not the way it does right now. I need to get a curtain for this window to deal with the glare. So if you have any ideas, or better yet, if you work somewhere that wants to gift some decorations for this podcast set in exchange for a shout out, let me know. Let me know. And with that, guys, I'll see you next week. Make sure to follow and subscribe to the pod wherever you listen. If you haven't given a 5-star review yet, please do. 5-star reviews are the ones we're giving today. And I love you all. See you soon.